Today is August 2nd, 2023. Lately, I've been getting a lot of sleep, and it seems to be helping out. I thought that if I were to spend as much time as possible studying, that I would be able to learn faster, but it requires the mind to be relaxed in order to absorb the material. It's like it's like when I'm like staying up late and not sleeping. I'm moving in a fast moving train with the landscape moving very, very fast. But if I sleep, then it feels like I'm riding on uh, a slow horse drawn carriage where I can look and then absorb. Because there's so much quantity that's being bombarded when I'm moving fast versus when I'm moving slow to observe it. So the hare and a rabbit race seems to make a lot of sense. Sometimes it makes sense to do certain things a lot faster. Sometimes it makes sense to do things a lot slower. When I need to get something done, something that have already been learned, moving at the speed of the rabbit is good, and taking naps. But when it's time to learn, it's good to move as a turtle. It's a good thing that I thought that because everybody in UK spreadbreeding, they're all profitable, that I would have no use for them. But it seems that it has now become useful. The manager or the owner, his name is Mark, made this statement. I made a little comment a while back, something about a plan or something, and he said and discipline, right? And then he made this comment, which stuck with me for a while, but I didn't understand it. He talked about something called discipline, right? He talked about the matter of discipline in day trading, and he said this. He said that is a very deep subject matter in itself, right? He said that, but I didn't understand what that meant. Then I started to like study more and reflect on day trading, and then I suddenly realized that what he was talking about is that, for instance, entry in the market is very important. The word entry is any place that allows something to move in and out. That's what it is. That's what it means. Actually, move in. Exit is the moving out. Okay, a place that's. However, in day trading language, where entry means just entry, right? If I'm looking for a purely based on the 50-50 chance of entering without emotion interfering with this entry portion of it, then it is very, very simple. Entry, just entry. Pick anything, just enter. That's it. There's nothing else to think about. However, that word entry is a very, very complex word because there is a directionality to the entry. When I just enter, I'm saying to myself, whatever happens, it happens, right? But in order to be consistently profitable, that's not consistency, that's randomness. That's just 50-50 chance. But if I want to be consistent in what I'm doing, then I need to direct my thesis. In order to direct my thesis, I have to gauge what kind of entrance it is. because that doorway could be a V shape, and that V shape, that door could be moving. The door is moving on that V line. Okay, the door is moving. There's a door on that V door. If I can just imagine myself, there's a V, and there's a picture of a door, and the door moves within time. Okay, it's time. So at that moment, when the market is available, right there at that time, that's when the V has not been shown yet, but it's there. But the predictability of that entrance is based on what the previous data is. What is the market saying? Like today, something about the stock market credit worthiness has been lowered by whatever it is, and it caused the market to be very red today. And what that means essentially is, generally speaking, it's going to go down. So part of the thesis is that the directionality at that point, when there is a strong tendency for the candles forming, that says that, okay, look, it has a very strong trend towards down. That is another thinking that I need to integrate into my my decision process, right? Then that's one part of it, and the other part is what is this? What is the quality of the stock? And so I have to consider all these factors in order to make my decision in entry. And so if I keep looking at it, generally speaking, when I enter and I have a stop loss, and when the trend has been established, then the move that is going to be is most likely large based on the news that was provided. And so if I were to enter with a trend based on the trend to entry with a put, then most likely, I will make money. I have to monitor what happens as it moves. Is the V turning into a U? When that happens, generally speaking, there are buyers that are coming in to slow down the progression of this downtrend. So today, what I did was I traded Google, and Google was doing that V shape, and I waited. I waited for a reversion, which meant that it dipped, and then there were some green candles that started forming. That showed me that there was a indication that there was buying that was occurring, and so I entered and fluctuated a bit. I was down a little bit and fluctuated a little bit, but it did not hit my stop loss. So eventually I made a certain percentage and I exited. Holding on to a gainer is very difficult. So that's another whole subject matter that needs to be entertained. So the complications of the statement of it's a very difficult subject matter. It seems easy, but there are so many things that need to be considered. So looking at S&P Capital, they're kind enough to display publicly what they do, and they have at least 10 different categories of ideas, like what's the short percentage rate, which obviously when the directionality is there in a moving up, when the stock is moving up, those shorts want to cover, right? And so the moves will be accentuated. That's one factor. There's 9 other factors that are used to come up with the supporting ideas of the thesis based on the fundamental news, based on the fundamental news and what else is happening around it. So these are the things that I need to consider. Now, I told a trading buddy of mine, now I'm in a mindset now. I'm working. I attempted to essentially figure out how to pick the setups, not even the stocks. Initially, when I started trading, what I wanted to do was I wanted to enter, and then my thinking was, okay, it's going to do this, and I enter, and then if it reversed, I would lose everything. And so now what I'm attempting to do at this stage is to create a stop loss that will buy me time. And so whatever I make, it'll latch down and exit me at that point. What I will do is accrue and exit down and things like that. That's the process that I'm using in order to maintain my gains. And then at the same time, now I'm on the other side studying materials that allows me to create a better entry. When I understand how the entries are now, that's where Al Brooks fits in. He's going to show me how to enter. Then the third part that I will use is understanding the fundamentals or the overall picture, which essentially it just carries over to the bigger picture, larger time frame of the stock, of what the stock is going to do. And when I integrate that as well into my trading, then I can look at certain stocks, even like on a daily time frame or a 4-hour time frame. I can look at it and say, okay, so that's what the stock is generally going to do, and that's what I'm going to expect within this time frame of intraday. And I can do an intraday swing trade based on the criteria that I've generated, that used for me to figure out the directional component of the bigger picture, and then I can trade it accordingly based on that. Why? Let's say the directional component on a big picture is sloping down and the stock moves up. I should not buy there. I should be looking at that. I should be looking at that resistance, and I should be buying a put. And generally speaking, on a statistical basis, as soon as it hits that, it'll drop down, because the theme of just like movies, just like movies. Okay, if there's a genre, there's a action adventure, there's comedy, there's things like that. So these are categorization of the general theme. And when I look at a short 1 second or 2 second clip, I can't tell whether it's a drama or action or whatever it is, because during the time the dialogue is performed, then I don't know. You could have these master kung fu people just standing around talking, but right outside of that 1 second, 2 second time frame, all sorts of action can be performed. And so looking at it on a very small slice of the picture can cause things to be confused, right? So at this stage of the game, reinforcing my my stop loss and studying to figure out what the better entry is, so that shapes my thesis, and that improves the odds of my winning, so that when I hit my stop loss, that means that if I were to win 8 out of 10 times, that means that on a statistical basis, I'll be consistent.